back to Let's Get Real. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to be talking about something that we really do not like to talk about, and for good reason too. But unfortunately, because of the sort of times that we're living in, a lot of us are experiencing more of this. We really should start talking about. I know it's quite morbid and this isn't going to be for everybody, but I just feel that this is something that we should address. When you experience a loss, we really do not express how we feel to other people, which I absolutely, having been through it myself, can understand why, but I think that might be doing more damage than good to us. So this is just a video for us to encourage each other. If you're struggling with losing somebody, if you're currently living that situation at the moment, you know, my condolences to you. So for anyone who knows me personally would be aware that I lost the queen that I called mum in 2019. And as I sit here and tell you this today, you know, I still struggle to accept that myself. It's definitely a difficult process. It's been a long journey. I've cried tears that I never believed I could cry, and it's just been rough. So I know this video isn't going to be for everybody, but I'm aware that there are people who are going through difficulty at the moment, having suffered a loss. The reason I've actually made this video is because I cannot even tell you over the past, let's even say a year or so, how many people I'm aware of that has passed on. The news, unfortunately, during the height of the pandemic, they were unhelpfully giving us a death tally every day, which I quite frankly thought was unnecessary. But unfortunately, you know, lots of people did pass away, and I just didn't see numbers when this happened. You know, I could see families that were struggling, having been through it myself. I could see, you know, people in depression. I could see people who needed help. I know lots of my friends and family have experienced losses this year in particular, and my heart goes out to every single one of them. I don't know what you guys are going through or what you might be going through, and you know, I just wanted to make this video to let you know that whatever you are going through, it's going to be okay. I just wanted to share my experience because we don't really talk about it, so we have no way of measuring what grief should be like or what happens when you're grieving. I completely had no idea what grief really meant. I just sort of thought from losing people in the past that, you know, when you lose somebody, you're upset for a few months and then you kind of get over it, you know, life just carries on. But unfortunately, that has not been my experience. But it's been a really long road, and I am aware of people who've lost loved ones and family members who've had to get extra help, because seriously guys, it can really mess up your mental health if you do not address it. They say there are 5 stages of grief. Now, just before I run through what these are, I just want to say it is possible to not experience all of them, so you don't have to experience all of them. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't experience all of them. And also, you do not experience them in any particular order. The first stage is denial and isolation, and I can absolutely speak from experience that when somebody passes away, you totally, absolutely do not want to believe it. You're just like, is this how people die? Like, you're here a minute and you're gone the next. It's an absolutely awful feeling. And it's just something that I pray that I don't have to experience anytime soon again. Isolation, that is really quite difficult. It's almost like mental torture. It's mental anguish. You know, you feel that nobody understands. Of course people understand, because when somebody usually passes away, they have family and friends who are also experiencing the same thing. But you just feel that nobody understands where you're coming from. They don't understand how you feel. You just feel completely lost in the world, and I really struggled to understand how the world kept going. You know, I was like, my mum's passed away. How are you guys still ticking over? How's the world still moving? You know, I just felt like time should have stood still. That's just how I felt. So I would encourage you, if you are struggling with the loss of a loved one, you should definitely speak to somebody. It doesn't have to be a therapist or anybody professional, but if you really are struggling mentally, you really should speak to family and friends. I know lots of family and friends did reach out and ask me if I was okay, how am I doing? And you would say, yeah, I'm absolutely fine. But really, you probably are not, because I wasn't. So it's just something to know that this is a normal feeling, and you should try as much as possible to speak to people to let them know how you feel. The second stage that they say you experience when you're grieving is anger. I can't really say that I felt angry. I can't tell you why I didn't feel angry. I just never felt angry at all. But people react differently, so this might be something that you're going through. You might be very angry. I suppose it really depends on the circumstances of the loss as well. So if it was in very difficult situations, then I suppose anger might be something that people would experience. And if you are going through that, once again, please, speak to somebody, let them know how you feel. It is completely normal. The third stage of grief, once again, that I didn't particularly experience, is bargaining. To be honest, I pretty much accepted my fate and, knew that she wasn't coming back. Although I've said that, on the other hand, actually, there are times when I kind of feel like, I'll see her on Sunday or something, and then you're like, no, you're not. So I don't know, bargaining, I can't really say that I tried to bargain to have her back, because it's not possible. But once again, this is something that, people do experience when they're grieving. The fourth stage of grief is described to be depression. Now, I'm sure a lot of us would be familiar with this. It's definitely something that I really struggled with, and especially when you probably have other people that you are being strong for. On the surface of it, you really want to appear that everything is okay and everything's hunky-dory, life is ticking along nicely. But unfortunately, deep down, I'm sure many of us have probably experienced it or are going through it. Everything is not okay. I had days when I just didn't want to get out of bed. I just thought, what's the purpose of living? I even had conversations with my sister and said, I don't think there's any point in living anymore. I have 2 young kids, so for me to be thinking that way is just to let you understand the mental anguish, the torture that you're going through in your brain for you to think that is a logical conclusion. I used to work about an hour away, so it took me an hour's commute to get to work, and I would drive all the way to work crying. I would get to work, get in the bathroom and cry some more. The depression is absolutely real, guys, and if you do not deal with it or speak to people who tell you that they love you and your life is worthy, they need you around, it would be very easy to do something that you really shouldn't be thinking about doing. So guys, definitely want to let you know, if you are feeling depressed, it really is a real illness, and it's treatable. Obviously, if you're depressed because you lost a loved one, then that's something that hopefully with time will heal. If you are going through depression, you can absolutely make it through the other side. The fifth stage of grief is described to be acceptance. Now, I would probably say this is where I am. I accepted it a long time ago that, my mum is never coming back. But that doesn't mean it's still not difficult. I still have days, 18 months later, where I could just be sitting down. The other day I was cooking and literally the floodgates opened. It came from nowhere. There was just no apparent reason for it. Just because you have accepted it doesn't mean that it still doesn't hurt. 18 months later, it still hurts as much as it hurt the first day. So once again, guys, just want to let you know, because I really thought, I used to believe that, after a while you will be fine. And I am fine for all intents and purposes. But there are moments when I just really think, this is horrible. This is just so sad. So I can't imagine what people who have recently lost someone are going through. It's an absolutely awful feeling. And I just wanted to give you some reassurance that you will be fine at the end of the day. Everything will be okay. So one of my absolutely favorite quotes is, pain pushes until vision pulls. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because no matter how difficult things are for you right now, the pain that you are going through right now is going to push you to a point where something greater will come out of it at the other end. So my mum's passing really has put life into perspective for me. we all say life is short, but you know, what did that really mean? And for me, it's got me thinking about, well, what legacy am I going to leave behind when I pass away? You know, what's the world going to say about me? What are they going to remember me for? I want to be remembered for doing great things, for helping people, for loving, for caring, and that has actually led me to create a charitable foundation in my mum's name, Darrow's Touching Lives. And basically it represents everything that she was. She was a kind person, a giving person, a loving person. And so that is why I've created that. So obviously that will form part of my legacy as well. But in the process of doing that, you know, I am helping people who are less fortunate. Hopefully the foundation is just at grassroots levels, but we are aspiring to change lives and help people who things aren't going very well for at the moment. So that's one thing that I've done. The other thing is I also started looking at things that I've been procrastinating on for years. Oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And all of a sudden, within the past year, things that I've been talking about for the past couple of years, I've got them done, because I'm like, okay, life really is short, so you need to achieve as much as you can, get what you can get done, get it done now. And I have aspirations to do so much more in the future, so watch this space, guys. But the whole point of this, me telling you this, is not to show off, is to actually just say that no matter what you are going through at the moment, things will be okay for you. If I can do it, guys, you can do it. You will be fine, and just keep the faith, keep holding on. Everything will work out. Right, so some final remarks, guys. If you are grieving at the moment and you are experiencing difficulties with your loss, I just wanted to let you know, number one, everybody grieves. So what you're going through, you're going to be okay. Number two, everybody grieves differently. So do not go comparing yourself to other people. So some people will appear to be absolutely fine, like there is nothing wrong. Don't start looking at other people and saying, why am I feeling this way? What's wrong with me? Everybody grieves differently. If you are struggling mentally and you know for a fact that you are having thoughts that you shouldn't be having, I would suggest that you either speak to family and friends. If you don't want to speak to family and friends, there are lots of support systems out there. I will put some links in the description below. You can contact them anonymously. You can get counseling for free, guys. So don't suffer in silence. Being strong in this situation is not going to get you anywhere. The other thing I wanted to say is this is not the right time to start worrying about debts or anything like that. So if the person who passed had debts, usually when a person passes away, you do not have to pay their debt, not unless there is an estate that the creditor can claim against. But normally, you as a family member or a spouse are not required to pay somebody else's debts, not unless they are joint debts in joint names and you are jointly and severally liable for them. So if you've got any questions about death and debt, please feel free to ask the questions in the comment section and I'll do my best to get the answers to you. I just wanted to put a little bit about debt in there because I do know that this is something that lots of people worry about when a loved one has passed away. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you in the next video. Hopefully it'll be something a little bit more cheery. Take care, bye.